Those are illegal miners, whether you like it or not. Because the Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals has not been able to fashion out a policy where we can have these miners all captured. Because the statistics I read the other day, they said it was just $89 million that we got from the mining sector in a whole year. I mean, that is sad. That's a shame. That's less than 0.3% of our GDP, our gross domestic product. And how can you now, if our country was going to depend on that, then we all die of hunger and starvation. So what you're saying is quite right, but it behaves on our legislatures to, first of all, agree that in the next constitutional amendment, they're going to remove mining of solid minerals from the exclusive list. But also, the states can also make a case for it. If I know I have these huge deposits of solid minerals, like I gave an example, like talc, for example, which is used for cosmetic and ceramics, I hear is in excess of 40 million tons, and only 3 million is produced in a whole year. If I know I have that in my state, for example, which is found in Cross River, I'll make a case. It's found in Nasarawa, that this should be done. It's the pressure I will bring on my... I have senators representing me. I have members of the House of Reps representing me. Then I will make a case to say, look, let us explore this area of alternative resource. Because from what we are seeing now, the price of crude oil is 50. The budget was predicated on 110. And that is why you see that states have practically become bankrupt. Because there's nothing you can do about it. If you predicated something and you're getting half of it, everything you have budgeted for is bound to collapse.
Now,
do you understand?
Products have been removed from, the list of products that the CBN can. So that means we should be looking inwards and seeing how we can make sure that we produce them here and consume them.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
What about the infrastructural issues?
Okay,
what about electricity that we need to fix?
That is why you must provide a user-friendly environment. For you to bring in the investors to take the risk, for example, to go into all these sectors we have talked of, this mining, and even the tourism sector, which is another huge foreign exchange earner. If we are to go into the tourism sector, which countries like Tanzania have made so much money, countries like Tunisia have made so much money from, we have tourism sites. You definitely must provide a conducive environment. The infrastructure has to be there, the roads have to be there, the light has to be there, because why most people run away from Nigeria in terms of doing business, they say the cost of production in Nigeria is very high. We know America outsources labor to China because they cannot pay for labor. So China practically does almost everything in America and brings them back to America. Now, what we are saying is that let's not outsource those companies that would rather come here to produce, but because of the money they spend in diesel, in the manners they take on traffic because our roads are bad, it makes it very difficult for you to have a user-friendly environment. It also behaves on the ministries that are in charge to also put pressure for those infrastructures to be provided. For example, if I'm bringing in investors to say, look, I want you to go to these states to take the risk of spending your money and finding out if you can get, for example, silica sand in commercial quantity. I should be able to provide the land. I should be able to provide electricity. The basic infrastructure should be there. And when I can't provide that, the investor will not come and start providing those infrastructures and sit down and start taking the risk of mining when he already doesn't know how much of which year he will start exporting those products.
The mining laws, the power infrastructure.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Laws and all that need to be looked at.
They need to be addressed. Yes.
Let me, if I can come in.
Yes. Yes.
Well, maybe the mining sector had been silent, so to say, for about 20 years. But that does not mean quite some work had not been done. I just give an information. There is a mining law. And actually, and in fairness to the different ministers and all the sectors, this mining law, 2007, compares with any other mining law globally. There is a mining policy. And it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay
and
that the states cannot.
No. I'm coming to that. And there is a roadmap. Yes, the solid minerals and all these minerals are in the exclusive list. It's not the best, and I agree with my brother here. But you see, there's a creative way to go about it. Nothing stops the state's government from having companies. Mining is not a government business. There is no government all over the world that mines. It will fail. It is. It's a private venture, private sector initiative. And they must run with it. The state governments have all the creativity to invite, provide what he has just said, the infrastructure, the enabling environment, settle community issues, prepare the ground. And some few state governments have started doing that. But of course, because of lack of full understanding of what actually they should do, may not have been yielding the results. The important thing for them is that they can also form companies, joint venture companies, with private organization, and they can have equity. No law stops them from doing that. And at the end of the day, whatever is accrued from the mining proceed will also go into the coffers of the government, of the state government, and even the local government. The local governments can also
whatever is produced will go into the coffers.
Yes.
But this solid minerals. I mean, they are in the exclusive.
That's exactly what I
So
said.
how would they come into the coffers of the
very
state
difficult.
government?
They will not earn money.
The law
They won't earn money.
is still there. How would the state government
what the law says, of course, I'm not a lawyer, but you see, you cannot mine without getting license.
Yes.
There's a licensing procedure.
Okay.
If you have a company, and you have a place you want to explore and to mine, you can go to the mining cadastre office. And I want to give it to them. It's transparent. When you go and you say, look, you have your cadastre, that is, you have your and then say, I want this, you just check, is it occupied, is it not? If it's open, then you put in your application. Nothing stops you. Nothing stops anybody or even any corporate entity from doing that.
Okay. So, but I think where Neilta was trying to come from, let me make it clear, is how would the state benefit in terms of resources? For example, I'm from Delta State, and we get 13% derivation because we produce oil. Do you understand? And so it adds to our economy of Delta State. So what Neilta is trying to say is that this is only the exclusive list. How would the state now benefit? When you go into a joint venture partnership, you can make some money, quite all right, to bring in resources. But how do I benefit ultimately when the majority of the funds are going into the federation account? I think that, am I right? Is that exactly where you're trying to come from?
Okay, but let me go back here, staying with the solid minerals.
All right, sir.
Let me just call out a few of them here. You've mentioned a few. You talked about talc, you talked about barite, you talked about iron, you talked about, you didn't mention gold.
No, well,
now we have gold. No, I'm coming. Bitumen, rock salt, gypsum, lead, zinc. Bentonite, gemstones, kaolin, tantalite, palletization of coal for domestic
use, silica sand, so many of them.
And all of this, you say we have in enormous quantities, enough to take care of.
Let me give you an example. Gemstones, for example. I was in Germany about 3 weeks ago, in Frankfurt, and the hotel I stayed, there was a shop downstairs. And it was cosmetic, what do you call it now, ornamental. And I went in, and I saw raw gems, amethysts, aquamarine, and rose quartz. And when I looked at that, I'm a geologist, been practicing for over 30 years. I know which ones will be from Nigeria. And I just looked at the man and said, look, oh, these are fine things. Where are they from? Oh, he said they are from Africa. I said, Nigeria. I said, yes. And they are all over the world like that. We have,
legally?
Well, let me say something. You're asking whether these things are there. In Oyo State alone, in a place that is around Okyogun, your east, north, we have been able to map not less than about 100 of these rock bodies, pegmatites, that have different forms of gemstones. Do you know not less than about 3 settlements have risen up from that mining alone in the last 10 years, with about 50,000 population, just on that commodity alone. You have 5 different types. You have the same thing in Nasarawa. You have the same thing in Kaduna. You have the same thing in Borno, and all over the place. So these things just need to be organized. And maybe this is where we're coming. What had been the problem? And that is why the government now needs to look at these areas, strengthen the institutions that will produce credible data and can organize this. I said the laws are there, but the important thing is to strengthen the institutions that will implement the law. The rate at which these things are being illegally mined or even being mined in a way that is not environmentally friendly,
Like
and people
Zamfara,
that is happening in
Yes.
Zamfara
Yes.
lead poisoning
is just
and things like
as a
that.
result of, and you have the institution